Hello and welcome Leo Colgan, who is the director and co-founder of IMS, which was co-founded in 2003. For the past 18 years, he's played a crucial role in the growth of the company, with a client base now extending beyond Ireland into the UK and Europe, namely Germany, France, Italy and Switzerland, with further projects in the pipeline for Portugal and Spain. IMS is a leading Wi-Fi and communications technology partner for service departments, whom provide fully integrated technology solutions. Leo, thank you very much for joining us today and being part of the ASAP community.
Thanks very much for having me, James.
Tell us a little bit about IMS then and the story so far.
I guess, 18 years for a tech company. We're pretty old in terms of tech, but we've evolved with the tech, with the internet, basically. The origin of IMS goes back to a little bit even earlier, in 1998. Myself and my business partner, Shane, we set up an internet cafe, one of the first internet cafes in Ireland when there was a real need for people to get online. So we wanted people to go online. We loved online. It was all new to us. It was all very slow and dial up, but we wanted to be online, and we saw an opportunity. And it was in Ireland at the time, it was Ryanair had gone online, Dell had gone online, and they were the two things everyone wanted to do, was book a flight and buy a computer back in the 90s. And we facilitated that for a number of years. So that's where the origin came from, getting people online. And then in 2003, we saw an opportunity. There was a tax break in the Irish system. It was called the Section 50 tax break. That meant that if you built student accommodation, you had to provide broadband. So we saw this as an opportunity to get people in student accommodation online. Contractors and developers didn't know what broadband was, let alone how to install it. So we partnered with various developers and electrical contractors, and that's where IMS came from. So we've always wanted to get people online, I guess, and facilitate that. So in the early days, it was student accommodation and managed apartment blocks. It was actually BTR. The origin of BTR, we actually provided broadband-ready apartments, probably ahead of its time back in the early noughties. But it was primarily student accommodation that we were involved in all around Ireland, and then it was a natural evolution for us to go into hospitality. And we signed our first hotel deal back in 2005 with the Clarion Group here in Ireland, and six hotels. And from there it kicked off. It was student accommodation, it was hospitality, it was managed apartments, all going absolutely great. And then the recession hit. And we were lucky that we had gone into a model of recurring income, because if we installed tech into a building, we didn't want to just leave it and walk away. We wanted to make sure that it was managed by the operator thereafter. So it meant that we had to install quality, because we were responsible for the after as well. And that recurring managed income kept us going through the recession. And we came out in a very strong position. And we then made the conscious decision to go and look at the service department and the apart hotel, which was really a growing market at the time. And we were lucky enough to meet a company called Stay City back in 2013. We got on well, and we did a couple of projects with them. They were an Irish founded company as well, with big plans. So there was a lot of synergies there. And we did our first two projects with them in 2013 in London, in Deptford and Greenwich. And we were dipping our toes outside of Ireland as well for the first time. We've been on their coattails ever since. It's been a fantastic journey with them. We've 27 properties now all over Europe. And we are opening on a weekly basis at the moment. We've got an opening in Paddington, a super 350-bed property in Paddington on the 14th of December, in Frankfurt this week, in Dublin the following week. So it's a really exciting time. Lots of projects going on because, of course, COVID put a stop to all the projects. So it's been interesting. time for us with Stay City, but also with companies like Fraser's Hospitality. We do their properties in the UK and Germany. And then we got an in with Eden, who are a fantastic company to work with. We've done their first 2 properties in Dublin. Again, like Stay Cities, we've started a journey with them. I think it's going very well. They've given us projects in The Hague and Wittenberg. We're looking at projects in Portugal with them, and yeah, we started to do their Cove properties. So we did their Cove property in Paradise Street in Liverpool. So yeah, the apart hotel business has been good to us. We think we're very well positioned to offer other apart hotel operators a quality service, just like we do with Stay City, Fraser's, and Eden. So that brings us to today, and we have an aggressive growth plan. We decided that 5 or 6 years ago we'd stop trying to hire people like us. And try and start hiring people that were smarter than us. And that's worked very well, because now we don't need to worry about the financial. We've got a great financial controller. We don't need to worry about the operations. We've got a great operations officer. And it's just given us a very good platform to grow. So really exciting time in IMS.
Fantastic. Well, that's really interesting. You mentioned some of our very supportive members there, so it's great that they see value in what you're doing as well. But tell me, we've lived through probably 18 months, 20 months of the hardest commercial period that I think many businesses will have faced, certainly in the recent times. So that being the pandemic, what impact has that had on your business growth, and what do you anticipate the longer term impact to look like?
Well, it was definitely challenging for us. We were very heavily exposed to the traditional hospitality market. So we would do a lot of work with the Radisson Group. We would do a lot of work with various hotel groups, both in Ireland, the Dalata Group in Ireland and the UK. So, of course, they were very heavily impacted. Some properties stayed open for essential workers, but the majority of the portfolio on the hospitality side of the business was shut down. So we had to, first of all, it really put our core principles to the test, because we were always saying the culture of IMS was to put people first. Suddenly, this was right front and center. You have always said you're putting people first. Now do it. So the first thing we decided to do was look at our own internal organization and say, okay, let's make a policy, no matter what impact it is financially, let's retain all our staff. And that was first of all because we love our staff, and secondly because in our business, tech people are very hard to recruit, to train, and to retain. And if we were to put anyone on furlough or to put anyone on support schemes here in Ireland, chances are, like in the communications business, ironically, the pandemic was a boom. Like the big operators had their best year ever. Everyone wanted connectivity, whereas we were a supplier to hospitality. Even though we were in that industry, we were heavily impacted. So we retained all our staff, and that was really, really important to us. And then our second focus was to help our customers in need. So we had to go out with financial supports to all our contracted income. We did that, and that was difficult. Some difficult conversations, but we didn't fall out with anyone, and everyone was happy with how we managed it. And then we're a Zoom partner, because we put Zoom rooms into co-living and BTR and apart hotel space as well. So if we were very well placed to say, okay, what will we do for our guys? So let's put the management teams on Zoom, get them free licenses. Let's put the staff of our clients on Zoom, and suddenly it got legs and traction, and we ended up doing a Zoom for Education national project, almost like a social corporate responsibility project over here, and we had 20,000 teachers teaching online, facilitated by IMS. So that was a project that kept us going while all our hotels were shut, and that has been a massive success. And this year it's been renewed again, and we have over 17,000 teachers using Zoom through IMS. So that sort of AV aspect as well has been very good for us in terms of adding value to our customers. And for example, Stay City are Zoom users, and their boardrooms are Zoom, and their open spaces and meeting rooms are now Zoom rooms. So it gives us an extra edge as well in terms of the overall package of what we deliver. But I guess coming out of the pandemic, then we were well placed to kick back off all the projects that had been backed up because of the pandemic. And as I said, Stay City had a lot of openings that were put back, and now they're all coming, and Eden as well. And so yeah, it's been really good. We all also took a breath during lockdown, I think, and looked at ourselves and our culture, and it's been great for us as a company because we all got to know each other almost. Even though we weren't face to face, we got to know each other. We had daily check-ins. So it's really built a great team, and we had a social event there a month ago or so, and it was one of the best nights out we've all had. It was just super. So even though it was a real challenging time, looking back, I think we'll reflect on it as a real time that gave us a foundation for further growth, you know.
And absolutely, and I think it's interesting you're saying that we're out of it. Let's hope we are out of it. But in terms of specifically the ASAP community, and in terms of connectivity, what do you think are the most important considerations for our members, and how can they benefit from working with you guys?
Yeah, it's what was interesting during the pandemic was that some of our operators remained open in the apart hotel sector, and we had a situation where there was NHS workers that were in for maybe 6 months. So it was pushing the short stay to medium stay balance, and it was making the operators think about this is not only the weekend people in. This is now you've got 6 months. What do they need? What do they want? And because our technology suite is primarily based on a really robust managed Wi-Fi network, which we can layer other services onto. That's essentially what we do. Is we make sure the connectivity coming into a building, you have a primary connection that's robust and fit for purpose. You have a secondary connection that is also fit for purpose in case there's an outage. So there's an automatic failover, and keep people, because people are now working. It's no longer you're in the apart hotels just for leisure or just for short stay, or people are now working. Even it's now acceptable to have Zoom meetings no matter where you are, whatever time of the day. So now no longer when you're out of the office, you're out of the office. You're now, I'll stay in the apartment here, do a couple of Zoom meetings, and then I'll go out for my walk or my dinner. So the usage changed, and the networks were tested. And this is where we really came into our own, because we had the robust networks in place already. We had sufficient broadband and bandwidth already. So, and in certain cases where there were older buildings, we set out on an upgrade program. Said, okay, guys, your connectivity, your usage is changing. Let's upgrade each property to a sufficient broadband that we foresee. But we were proactive in that, and that's very important. So I guess for us, just being with the portfolio being across student accommodation, across hotels, across co-living, BTR, and apart hotels, we were well placed. It's like I often say, if you can manage a student accommodation network, you can manage anything. It's like learning to play guitar on a really bad guitar. when you get the Rolls Royce guitar, you'll be Jimi Hendrix. So it's if you can manage 800 students, you can manage an apartment or an apart hotel very easily. You know.
Fantastic. I love the analogy. Many of our members actually are operating within the student accommodation part of the spectrum that we talk about, of course, the accommodation spectrum. So I'm sure they'll be very interested to hear that. But Leo, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. If any of our members want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's www.imedia.co.uk. We have a form on there. You can also email me directly. You'll get me at leo@imedia.ie, and I'm very happy to take direct emails for sure. But yeah, check out our website. We have a story to tell, and we're on a journey and we're delighted to be associated with you guys as well, James, and thanks for the opportunity for today as well.
No, it's great. We really appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much. And of course, if anyone's watching this through the link through the ASAP website, there are URL directions straight to your website as well. So Leo, thank you so much for your time today. Great talking to you.
Super. Thanks, James.